Animation in Scratch. This is day 1, activity 6. And with Scratch, you can do all kinds of animations like you should be able to do in a game. But we have to understand frames and frame rates and how to get the characters to move. So I just clicked on Scratch, which you'll see Scratch 2. It says there's an update available. Right now we're just going to cancel that. Maybe we'll update it later on. But we're going to put Scratch here. Now Scratch already is able to animate. So if I look at my Scratch character right here, here's the stage that he's on, and this is the sprite area down here. So he has the sprite, and I can click on the sprite, making sure that I have whatever I want to work on selected. And then over here I have scripts. This is for all the code. And here I have costumes. Now this is where the animation happens. So you can see this is frame 1, and this is frame 2. So Scratch treats everything like it's a stage performance or a theater. So here we have Scratch on the stage, and then if you want to change your costume, it just means you're changing the picture that you're looking at there. So how do we get this picture to change during the game when an action happens? We go back over here to scripts, and you always start with events. Extremely important to know that events is the beginning of anything, because the event has to happen, and then it's the cause and effect. The event is the cause, and the effect is what happens after. So in this case, we're going to say when spacebar pressed, which we're going to change that. We're going to say when the right arrow pressed. So when right arrow key pressed, then we want our cat to move. So we're going to say motion. We're going to say move 10. So, and up here we have our green flag, which always starts it, and this stops it. This is a way to test the code. So it's not doing anything, because even though I started the game, I haven't pressed the right arrow yet. So when I press the right arrow, there he goes. Now he's going to keep going right, which I don't want, because I want him to go left at some point. So we're going to say when left arrow pressed, and then we're going to go to move, put move in here, and then the opposite of 10 is negative 10. So if I put a negative 10 in here, he'll go the opposite direction. And so now let's test it. It's always a good idea to stop your code and start your code again, even though if it's this simple, just good habit to get into. So there we go. So now he's going back and forth. Now I want him to animate as he's going back and forth. So that goes into looks. So you can always ask the kids, where do you think changing his costume would be? That's in looks right here. So I go to looks, I can have him say something. What he says is part of his look, apparently. He can show or hide. This gets really important when you get into collisions. But also we have switch costumes. So knowing that his costumes are what makes him look different, we can now say switch costume to costume 2. So if we take a look at it, this is costume 1, and it even says it right here, costume 1, and then costume 2. I can change the name of these costumes if I wanted to organize it. Yep. I was going to make it, oh sorry, right up here. Costumes right there, that'll have it change it. And then that could make it clearer. But for right now, we're just going to say switch costume to costume 2. Now we don't have to do that. We could just say next costume. So I could say next costume right there, and then next costume right there. Now, when I press the button, there he is. Now it looks like he's going really, really fast. So next costume works because it always goes to the next costume every time you press it, but it goes really fast because as I press it, it's receiving signals from the keyboard saying that I'm pressing the button, so it's just repeating this constantly. So what we want to do is we want to put a wait in here. Say control wait by 1 second, and I'll do another wait function over here. Now let's see what 1 second looks like. All right, here we go, pressing it. Way too slow. So now we can teach about variables. This was a variable. We made that a negative 10 here. We can change that. So variables are anything that can change in a game. So we can change this to a decimal point. So we say 0.5, split it in half, and let's see if that's going to do any better. There we go. We say stop, start again, and still kind of slow. I mean, if he's meandering and there's a song that we want to get Scratch Cat to dance to, that would be fine. But let's do 0.3. 0.3. 0.3. And let's try that. Stop, start. And here we go. He's getting a little closer, but as you can see, you can change it any way you want, and we can get into making a Scratch Cat turn around when we want to, but this is how you do costumes. So the main thing is the costumes are on whatever sprite you click, and if it's only one picture, then you can create another picture here by saying duplicate. I just did a right click and said duplicate, and that duplicated Scratch Cat, and then I can do whatever I want to Scratch Cat here. Let's say I give him some sort of hat. There we go. There's your hat. Let's fill it in for fun. Nope, maybe not for fun. Okay, we'll just leave it like that. I think it's turned into a vector. Okay, so there we go. So now we have Scratch Cat with a hat. Now it's going to do next costume. If I go like this, his hat's going to come in. His little skip jump because I've duplicated the feet and didn't move them. So you can see you can add different things to a frame. You can add as many frames as you want depending on what your character is doing. And you can add different sprite movements on the same sprite. There it is. That is how you animate your character.